What if the life you're living isn't really yours? That question hit me one night quiet like a whisper, and it didn't leave. My name is Noah. I'm 25, and for a long time I thought I was doing fine. I had a job. I paid my bills. I smiled when people asked how I was, but inside I felt like I was drifting. Every morning I reached for my phone before I even opened both eyes. Scroll, scroll, scroll. News that made me angry. Photos that made me feel small. People winning at life while I was just surviving. I stopped asking questions. I was afraid I'd sound stupid. So I stayed quiet in meetings. I nodded even when I didn't understand. Better to stay invisible than to be judged, right? At night, I told myself I'd rest. But instead, I stayed up watching videos until 2 or 3 a.m. Sometimes I wasn't even watching. I was just escaping. I held the screen close. Blue light soaked my face while my mind got louder and louder. Thoughts racing, heart pounding, eyes wide, no sleep, just noise. I skipped the gym, too tired, too lazy, too uncomfortable. And honestly, it felt pointless. I started eating fast, always on the go. Microwave meals, delivery pizza, energy drinks instead of breakfast. It was easy. It was cheap. But I couldn't remember the last time I felt good in my body. Some days I didn't even taste the food. I just swallowed and scrolled. I didn't create anything. I used to write when I was younger, draw, think. Now I just consumed. Content, headlines, opinions, always connected, always on. Always watching other people live. I wanted to feel inspired, but I waited for it to magically show up. I told myself I'd start something soon. That day never came. I told people I didn't have time to read, but the truth, I was scared of what a quiet room with a book might tell me, because when it's quiet, I hear the emptiness. And that scared me more than anything, so I kept moving. Next task, next notification, next post, but I wasn't really going anywhere. I was just spinning in place like a hamster on a wheel. I listened to everyone else. What I should do, what I should be, how to think, how to act. And somewhere along the way, I lost my voice. I lived for approval, likes, follows, comments, validation from strangers. Even when I felt lost, I kept pretending. I ignored it, laughed it off. I said it's just a phase. But deep down, I was tired, tired of pretending, tired of living a life that wasn't mine. Then one night I sat in my apartment, no music, no screen, just silence. And a thought came in. What are you doing with your life? I didn't have an answer. I sat there for a long time, not moving, not scrolling, just thinking. That silence. It wasn't empty, it was honest. And slowly I started to see I wasn't broken. I was just buried under habits I didn't choose, under noise I never questioned, under the fear of looking stupid, slow, or different. But now I wanted something else. The next morning I woke up and didn't reach for my phone. Instead, I sat on the edge of the bed and took one deep breath. I drank water. I stepped outside. I moved my body, just a walk, nothing big. And I wrote one sentence in a notebook. I want a life that feels like mine. That was it. Not a plan, not a goal, just a decision. And from that day I started changing slowly, painfully, but honestly. I asked questions. I tried to listen more to myself. I read a few pages each night. I stretched. I turned off my phone an hour before bed. And when I felt lost again, which I still do sometimes. I don't run, I sit with it, I ask, what's missing? Because now I know. I don't want to ruin my 20s by living someone else's story. I want to write my own. So if you're like me, feeling stuck, tired, unsure, let me tell you something simple but powerful. You can begin again. You can choose differently. And it starts with one question. Is this the life I want? You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to care enough to ask.